Wrestling toys rule, and Goldust is the absolute best, brother. That's where you're wrong. Kane is number 1. Oh yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. There's gotta be a way to solve this. I know a way. Let's watch In the Toy Box.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another high-flying, elbow-dropping episode of In the Toy Box. I'm Matt, and I'm here with Kevin.
So Matthew, what do you have in front of you for wrestling toys?
Okay, so what I have is some wrestling action figures from LJN, which were produced from 1984 to 1989. There were 64 action figures in the line, and they were released on bubble cards, and they had many different wrestlers as well as managers. Now, one of the ones I have here that I'll show is Hillbilly Jim, who's known as the Mountain Man. And as you can see, this is like a little bit of movement, not much, but they're really solid and durable. Okay, then we have another one of my favorites, Hulk Hogan. And this guy is one of the most famous wrestlers worldwide.
Yep, I'm a Hulkamaniac.
I think everybody is. And he's known for his 24-inch biceps, which are called the Pythons.
That's right.
And then a third one that I'm going to show is we have Andre the Giant. And this guy in real life is 7 feet 4 inches tall.
Crazy.
One of the things I'd like to add about these wrestlers is that in real life, they also starred in movies. We had Andre the Giant, who starred in The Princess Bride. We had Hulk Hogan, who starred in Rocky III. And we had George the Animal Steel, which they already made on this wrestling line. He was in Tim Burton's Ed Wood. And some of the other figures, just to name, there's Jesse Ventura. That was another one. He was another famous wrestler. So yeah, there's many wrestlers in this line, and they're pretty cool. So what do you have?
In front of me, I have the WWF line from Hasbro, which was made from 1990 to 1994. And there are some similarities because it did come on a carded backer, just like those figures did. Obviously, there's huge differences as well. One that's easy to recognize is that these are small plastic figures. You know, these are 4 inches tall. But what's neat about them is I think that at the time, they really wanted an action figure, and that is exactly what these are. They have a little bit of movement, and they have springs in them that do special like wrestling moves. So there's over 90 figures. Closer to 100 when you get into variations of paint jobs and stuff like that.
Right.
So you have all the popular wrestlers of the time. Like this in front of me, I have Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. Woo! He can put you in a headlock, and his spring action is you pull back his arm, and he'll, give you a few punches. You got Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's able to,
Whoa.
Yeah. And you got, like I said, you got all the wrestlers of the time. You got Rowdy Roddy Piper. You've got Animal and Hawk from Legion of Doom. You've got, like I have two in front of me, two different Hulk Hogans. I know you already brought them up, but you can see the difference in these paint jobs, or even more so. This one has a small headband, and then this one has like a full bandana over his head. So those are the type of differences you would see. But this is just the tip of the iceberg in the wrestling figure arena.
Oh, really cool. Now let's take a closer look at these wrestling action figures.
These 8-inch wrestlers were the first wave of figures available from the World Wrestling Federation. Each one was a highly detailed, solid rubber representation of their real-life counterpart. The heavy-duty material stood the test of time, taking real-life playtime punishment. Hasbro soon took hold of the WWF figure franchise, and while shrinking the size of the new toy line, added some posability with the addition of each character's spring-loaded signature move. The WCW entered the ring with their own 6-inch toy line. The figures were almost identical to the original LJN line of nearly a decade earlier, and featured the show's famed wrestlers of the time. As years passed, the rubber bodies became plastic and included push-button movement or vibrating effects. The company Toy Biz took control of the WCW line in 1999 and gave the figures a realistic look, great articulation, and even squeeze leg action. Around the same time, the WWF handed the toy reins over from Hasbro to Jakks Pacific, whose figures were composed of a plastic head and torso with rubber pop joint limbs. Eventually, they evolved to an all-plastic, more posable plaything, and reached an apex in the new millennium with better face sculpts and ultimate articulation. Rubber or plastic, jointed or solid, each figure is equally important in the Toy Box's wrestling roster. The In the Toy Box crew took a short trip to 763 Purchase Street in downtown New Bedford to check out Kojo's Toy World. Meet co-owners Teddy and Kojo. Among their excellent toy assortment lies an overwhelming abundance of wrestling collectibles. Destination Hobbies, yeah!
Are we there yet?
We would first like to congratulate you guys for opening the very first and only toy store in the New Bedford area.
Hey, welcome to Kojo's Toy World.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Where did the love of toys, wrestling toys in particular, come from?
I think the love for wrestling toys actually might have started with Kojo. I think he had all the wrestling toys before I did. I was more of like Superpowers, Superman, Spider-Man, Doctor Doom, Captain America kind of guy, and I eventually just kind of gave in to what everyone else was playing with. But growing up, I looked up to Kojo, so whatever he played with was like kind of what I wanted to get into.
I loved wrestling because our great grandmother actually lived above from my father, so in the morning I'd sneak up. She'd make me breakfast, and we'd always watch Hillbilly Jim and Andre the Giant. So that's when I fell in love with these guys.
Is there a favorite era of the figures that you guys enjoy most?
The era of figures I enjoy the most, I think, is the LJNs, just because they were so hardy. They lasted forever, and it was fun hitting Teddy with them.
Yeah, as far as my favorite, I think maybe it was the Hasbro line, because when I started getting into wrestling, it was like those were just starting to come out. He actually had them first, and that's how I found out about him. And then as my love for wrestling grew, that's when I started like trading with my friends for their older toys, especially like those big rubber LJN figures.
Did you collect wrestling figures growing up? How many do you think you had?
I did collect wrestling figures growing up. I didn't have a ton. Maybe I probably had like 5 or 6.
I think I actually,
wrestlers.
I think I traded him or bought his with my allowance at some point, and I collected a lot in the. I got into wrestling probably in like 1988, 89, and I started collecting toys probably from then until like the mid 90s when I started to get a little older. You know, towards the teenage years when I started getting out of the whole toy phase. But at one point I probably had 100 or 200 wrestling toys, right?
Yeah,
a couple of wrestling rings and figures kind of scattered about, and actually quite a few of them have all the doubles have made their way here to Kojo's Toy World.
I think I probably traded my wrestling stuff for his Muscle Man stuff and his Muscle Man rings, so that was the trade-off there.
Do you have any personal favorite wrestling toys that you could show us?
The Sting is my favorite wrestling toy in the store. It might actually be my favorite thing in the store. I'm not sure why. He's not that great, but
Surfer
the
Sting.
colors, yeah.
Not that Crow Sting. We want bleach blonde Surfer Sting. And actually, we picked up some toys recently. This one isn't vintage, but it was recently made. I guess it's a vintage tribute to the Macho Man in his Slim Jim days, and it actually comes in this Slim Jim box. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
As you can see, and this is the figure here. Pretty cool. Need a little excitement. Snap it to a Slim Jim. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool toy. They definitely didn't make them like this back in the 80s and early 90s. But I think they did a good job capturing the Macho Man during his, the Slim Jim days of probably the mid 90s.
Did you read the nutritional facts back then?
Never. Wow.
Amazing.
Meat 100%, spice 100%, juicy taste 100%, excitement 100%, macho madness 100%, boredom 0%, snap 1000%.
Thank you guys for allowing us a look into a small slice of what Kojo's Toy World has to offer.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Fight fans, get ready for tonight's special matches. Welcome to Tag Team Toy Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner, we have Batman and Robin, aka the Dynamic Duo. In that corner, we have the Diabolical Joker and everyone's favorite Star Trek villain, Gorn, aka the Unlawful Duo. Representing our galactic heroes, Dr. McCoy and Mr. Spock, versus the Galactic Scavengers, aka the Sand People. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event, featuring heroin crime fighters, Batgirl and Wonder Woman, versus the villainous duo, Cheetah and Sam Weasel.
Gene Okerlund here, behind the scenes at In the Toy Box. Here's Macho Man Randy Savage. Let's see if we can get a few words from him.
Hello, Macho Man. How's the episode going so far?
Amazing, brother. They've got toys with bone-crushing moves. They have high-flying segments on far-out figures. Great guests with intense attitude, brother. And best of all, the toys are the stars.
Oh, they certainly are. Now back to the show.
All right, now, how does a train go? Now, an ocean liner? Now then, how does your tricycle sound? I see. But how would you like your tricycle to sound? Well, you can make it roar with Mattel's terrific new Varoom hot rudder engine. Put it on a trike like this, or like this. You get your own special key. Start it like Dad's key starts his car. The remote control is up here where it belongs. Sounds like a real engine.
And now, just for fun. Remember this toy? Real Talking Bubba, produced by Tyco in 1997. Squeeze each of his hands to hear him talk.
Say, I need someone to play with.
He says many phrases.
Say, it's kind of bright in here, ain't it?
He requires 4 AA batteries, and he also comes with sunglasses.
Will you help me put on my shades? Are you paying attention? Just slip them down. Did you slip them? How do I look? Do you like my shades? Pick me up, will you? Would you stand me on my head? I'm out there, we don't get high. I'm stop that. Ain't I in oh, it doesn't know what it is. Was I making sense there?
Also, this happens when you hold his mouth shut.
Don't try to hold my mouth shut. You got that? Whatever you do. Hey, what are you doing? I told you not to.
Sometimes he sneezes.
Oops, now see what you made me do. Excuse me. Oops, I did it again.
Real Talking Bubba by Tyco.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about accessories.
Nice.
Now, the wrestling world of accessories includes, let's see what we got here. We got trash cans. This one, I like this one because it has like a realistic look to it.
I agree, yeah.
Removable lid and everything. We also have, chairs and stuff like that. I mean, what do they do with this stuff? They throw it at people in the ring?
Yeah, folding chairs. Oh yeah, hardcore matches.
Okay. And then when you have your wrestling action figure, like this guy, let's say,
Yep.
and you pretend and play a wrestling match, well, whoever wins, you can actually give them one of these.
I love it.
What do you call it?
A championship belt?
Championship belt. And I got like one right here as a sample, and I can just show you. It kind of just goes around like that, and then it just fits in. Just like a regular belt. So that's pretty cool. And then we don't stop there. No. You got even more. You play and you become a champion, you want one of these.
Oh yeah.
So we have these foam belts that say, lightweight champion or heavyweight champion for wrestling. So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So what else do we have here?
Oh, on my end, I have from, I believe it's 2017. This is the Mattel version of the toys that Hasbro put out.
Sweet.
So Hasbro put out these, smaller figures, and Mattel decided they were going to do a retro line. So they reproduced some of the same size figures with, the current wrestlers, and they put out the same ring. So you need the ring if you got the wrestlers.
Of course.
And it's awesome because you got the stairs to go up, you got exit stairs, you got the elastic ropes to, bounce off of or jump off of. And you also have in the very front over here, the area where the announcers would sit. So it's got like a little table and a couple little TVs for the announcers to watch the action.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then on my left, in 2000, Jakks Pacific was putting out the wrestling figures at the time for WWE, and they made this thing called the Titantron. And what that is where the wrestlers enter to get to the ring.
Okay.
So each wrestler actually at the time, this is Ken Shamrock here, the world's most dangerous man. If you lift his left leg, you'll see that he's got 2 little metal nubbies. And if you put those on the stage over here, it'll actually play some entrance music. So I have Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE or WWF. And if I place him on the little stand over here, we'll hear some of his entrance music. So why don't we give that a shot? awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah, so, why don't we just take a deeper look at all the different types of wrestling toys that have been available.
Okay.
These are the images that come to mind when most of us think of wrestling toys. But there are dozens of different collectibles to be had, like large-scale PVC figures that dwarf the competition. Some even include pull-string quotes.
In the toy box rules, brother.
How about massively muscled figures that pack so much brawn they actually sweat? Pocket-sized thumb wrestlers and grudge matches are great for fun on the run. Keychains, head bobbers, and even electronic room guards are great ways to accessorize. Test your skill with a figure-controlled minigame. Make a splash at bath time with wrestling-themed shampoos and conditioners. Then, allow these pillow-like wrestle buddies to put you in a bedtime sleeper hold. Let's not forget the exorbitant amount of accessories available to the figure themselves. Wrestling rings with working elastic ropes or add-on cages. Belts, trash cans, tables, and ladders to make matches more extreme. Even entrance ramps to add extra excitement to playtime. These toys and accessories are an example of wrestling merchandise that goes beyond the traditional figure format.
Hello everyone, Kevin here, and today I'm going to be transforming myself into Animal from Legion of Doom. This is who I'm talking about. So let's get into it. First things first, Animal has a bit of a goatee, so let's fix my facial hair, shall we? Getting there. I'd say we get the facial hair down, but we're missing some face paint. I think we're going to start off with a little bit of black, see where we get with this. I've never used this stuff before, so wish me luck. I would say that's probably decent enough for the black portion. Let's try some red. It's definitely a lot harder than it looks. And it looks pretty hard. Alright, let's get some white in here. Almost there. Just a little spider on the forehead, and I think we're golden. And there you have it. I have become Animal.
Wrestling superstars like Stone Cold and The Rock achieved their fame in the Attitude Era in the early 2000s. They shared the ring with people like Mick Foley, who had 3 different personas in Cactus Jack, Dude Love, and Mankind, who became an unlikely tag team partner of The Rock. Speaking of personalities, D-Generation X was a group of raucous rebels that included Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, X-Pac, and more. Shane McMahon, the owner of WWF's son, got in on the action. The male wrestlers often paraded around with their female counterparts, such as Goldust with Marlena, or Mark Mero with Sable. These dazzling damsels could hold their own in the ring. Women like Jacqueline and Chyna were unstoppable female forces. Noteworthy names like Kane, Undertaker, Sunny, Edge, and the like are just a sample of the amazing assortment of superstars that rocked the ring during the Attitude Era.
In this current toy review, we're going to be talking about what else? Wrestling figures. So in front of us, we both have some current, from 2020, WWE Elite wrestling figures. And these are put out by Mattel. And they put out 2 different types of figures, the basic and the Elite. The main difference being the Elite has more articulation and includes accessories and sometimes clothing, even actual cloth clothing. So what I really like about these figures, Matthew, is the articulation and the lifelikeness of each figure. I have Chyna, who is one of the best, female wrestlers of all time. She did pass away, so R.I.P. to Chyna. But this figure is an exact replica of what she wore during one of the WrestleManias. So the costume is very accurate. Her face is spot on. Her figure, her build, it looks just like her. So I was super impressed with these figures. And I really enjoy the box they came in too. So if you're a collector, you don't want to take it out of the box, it displays very well in there. So if I had to give it a rating, I would give it 5 out of 5 toy boxes. So what about your figure in front of you? How do you feel about it?
Okay, well, I have Finn Balor, and he's known as the Demon. And his character in real life, he wears long hair and a painted face. So he comes out on the his entrance, he crawls onto the ring and then removes the long hair. He still has a painted face, of course. But this depicts him how he actually looks. So I think he's pretty cool. I agree with you. Very articulated. I like the cloth clothing. He has 2 sets of actually he's got 1 set of hands on, and then he comes with 2 sets of interchangeable hands, which is also pretty cool. The box itself too, I think, is really cool. And if you see the action figure's face up close, he does really resemble the actual wrestler, which I think is awesome. So I guess I'm going to have to agree with you on all points of this. I believe that I'm going to rate this particular toy, 5 toy boxes out of 5. I agree. This is a great toy.
Awesome. Well, good job to Mattel, and good job in general on these face sculpts. I think that's what really, really sells it.
Right.